Hey guys, you're back with Juzzie Evo X, and today I'm actually doing a complete video log about the mods on my Lancer Evo 10. It's a 2009 model, which is actually a GSR SST. This car was sold in Australia with the GSR trim, meaning that it came with a 5-speed manual and an SST transmission as an option from the dealership. I'm the third owner of this car. As you can see, it's a frost white. So immediately the first thing that I love about the car is the wheels. I've got some Ray's CE28 SL 18 by 9.5 plus 22s. These wheels don't come with an option for a center cap, as they are the Super Lap edition of these cars. So these wheels, their aim is to actually have as lighter rotational mass as possible. So they actually have grooves on the inside of the wheel, and they don't come with a center cap option at all. I've got Salem Aero 265 35 18-inch tires on the car. They're a semi-slick and they're rotational. They are a great tire, nice and quiet, quite grippy, and at approximately $650 for a set of 4 in Australia, it's excellent value for money. So from the outside of the car, if we're looking at modifications, when I bought the car, it didn't come with the Aero package at all. So it did come with 2011 side skirts, but it had a standard front bumper and rears. So the first thing that I would say is that I've got the optional OEM Aero front lip. As I said, 2011 side skirts, so they're not the OEM Aero side skirts. I've got the Aero package rear quarter add-ons. They're not OEM, but they're an OEM style. I got them black off eBay and had them painted, custom color matched to the frost white of the car. Got the Rexpeed gurney on the wing and the Rexpeed carbon fiber vortex generator. I've just got a no-name shorty antenna, carbon fiber again. On the back of the car, I've got, for the third brake light, a light black tinting overlay, because I think that matches the black version of the OEM brake lights a lot better than just having a clear. Varex muffler, single exit. On this side you'll notice that there's no tyre writing or tyre letters on the tyres. Whereas on that side I've got it. I like both looks. I like it with the tyre writing, especially when it's driving. It looks sensational. But I also like it looking fairly stock as well. So that's why I've gone tyre lettering on one side and not on the other. I've got carbon fiber eyelids, charge bead style raised bonnet scoop, Club Spec Chicago or Club Spec Custom Designs bonnet vents. So these are the honeycomb structured metal surround, perfect fitting quality vents. In Australia, these cars came with the number plate in the center underneath the Mitsubishi badge. So my car has the optional center part. I know that in other countries, I guess like the United States, that's a standard item, but in Australia the license plate is supposed to be parallel to the axle. So I've got the American issue number plate holder, it's an OEM item, and American style plate on the front. Also on the front you'll see I've got a Plasma Man Race Series 3-inch front mount intercooler plus their piping. I've got the stock engine oil cooler, and on this side, might be a bit hard to see, but I've got the stock SST transmission cooler, but I've also got a water spray setup which utilizes the water spray system that is also part of this car, which you'll see just there. There's 3 sprayers. I've had the roof has been wrapped in a gloss black wrap. Windows have a T25 tint on the side windows and the rear window, and then they also have privacy glass film on the inner, and on the front windscreen has been tinted in T15. Carbon fiber overlays for the B pillars, C pillar, I guess you could call it, as well as a carbon fiber covers for the mirrors. So that's the outside of a car. Looking on the inside, doors are standard issue Evo 10. I removed the foam from the inner plus the sound deadening from the inside of all doors. Inside the car you'll notice that the plastic covers for the B, A and C are all painted black, and the roof lining is custom black as well. So that wasn't painted, it was actually retrimmed. So I've essentially made the whole interior of the car all blacked out. I've got a custom 3D printed gauge holder holding an AEM failsafe, boost and wideband AFR. So it's a dual purpose gauge. It's great because the digital display can either display boost or AFR. I've retrimmed the steering wheel to custom suede. I've put on the Rec Speed carbon fiber overlay for the steering wheel surrounds, and then just off eBay I've got a carbon fiber Mitsubishi Diamond logo for where the horn is. I've got these Shift Concepts, so that's Concepts with a K, Shift Concepts carbon fiber overlay shifter covers for the paddle shifters. Inside I've got the carbon fiber handbrake cover, carbon fiber overlay for the surround for the SST shifter, the carbon fiber rally art OEM optional surround for the aircon climate control type dials, ARC gear knob for the SST, Later I'll talk to you about the engine. So I've got a Dodson heated sump, and so there you're looking at the base temp reader, which is a fancy name for the digital display for the temperature for the SST transmission. And the plug that's on the underneath here is actually the power source for the controller for my Varex muffler. So I've got a remote as a part of my keyring, which I use that I can open and close my muffler at any time. So I can drive in stealth mode, start it up in stealth mode, etc, etc. We've got the Android 9, Android version 9, 10-inch head unit. And then I've just got front and rear dash cam, plus the mic, and the digital radio antenna from inside. So from inside, the actual front window being tinted, as you can see, looks quite normal. That's looking out the rear, out there, and out the back. So I love driving this car. Excellent to drive, SST transmission. Always drive it in super sport mode. It's actually had the gearbox rebuilt, and I'll talk about that in just a moment. Actually, I just forgot. I've got these Evolution X Designs fire extinguisher holder on the driver's side. That's also on the passenger side as well. Done a little bit of weight saving in the car, so I've for this center console, I've taken this out. I've removed the actual sort of bin collector, I guess you could say, plus the fold down, I guess you could call it elbow rest. In the insides of every door, I've removed out the foam. In the rear, I've removed the speakers from the rear doors, but I've still got them in the fronts, and I've still got the tweeters up here. Oh yeah, just wanted to also mention, I've also got the headlight adjuster. So in Australia, this didn't come as a part of a purchase. It wasn't even available as an optional extra. I've put that in, and I'm still looking into a way to get that controlled by the ECU of the car. So that's on its way. Probably missed before, but I've got the carbon covers for the vents in the front fender. I've actually taken out the OEM cover, ran with that for a while, and then found it looked just a little bit bare naked. I had carbon fiber all over the rest of the car, so why not? So here's the engine bay. Under the bonnet, you can see I've removed the engine bay heater lining. A moment ago I was talking about the actual Club Spec Customs bonnet vents. Well, these are the optional rain guards, as well as air diverters, so that when the bonnet is down, you can see that it channels air that comes from the radiator out of the car, and it also stops rain from spoiling your engine bay and getting essential items. It stops it from getting wet. This is what the underside of my charge bit style bonnet scoop looks like, and the one that I bought actually came with an optional part heater you can remove, so you can have a lot more air that's being fed into the engine, I guess you could say where the exhaust manifold is. So starting from the top, I've just got some generic carbon fiber hood struts. Got the Club Spec Custom Design hood strut bottom brackets. so on both sides. And here's the engine bay. So I got a lot of good comments about the engine bay, and they're well welcomed because I've actually spent quite a bit of time detailing this. A lot of people ask me questions about this and what works, and do you have to modify something to fit, so hopefully I can talk a bit about that now. So, obvious things: Cusco engine strut bar, Cusco brake master cylinder stopper. This is only of use to people who are in right-hand drive markets because they don't make the stopper for the left-hand drive markets. So what that does is it stops any firewall flex. Not really of much use when you're street driving, but when I take it to the track, then when I put the pedal to the floor, the brake setup that's on my car, which consists of the standard rotor size, I should say. It's a single piece, it's not a twin piece. I've got DBA rotors. They're, as you can see, cross drilled, slotted on the rear. Standard Brembos, but I've got aftermarket pads. Had race pads on there, found them very squeaky. I've got braided brake lines front and rear. They're a worthwhile upgrade if you're going to be going to the track, and also worthwhile getting this type of strut bar with the brake master cylinder stopper if you're going to be going to the track as well. JMF Fabrications master cylinder replacement caps. So you actually remove your stock cap and put this one on. It's not actually a stick-on tap that sort of sticks onto the OEM one. You remove it and put this on. I've got the STM power steering bottle. So it's meant for the Evo X. It comes with a bracket welded on which slots onto the standard mount. It just uses the standard lines. I've got the Driven Fab catch can, which also doubles as a radiator overflow bottle. So what this does is it's a vent to atmosphere type, and it uses a feed line here which feeds any sort of excess radiator coolant overflow. I hardly get any issues with water going into there, and with this one it actually my engine's actually doing fairly good because I'm not actually seeing lots of oil collection there either, albeit I'm not really pushing my car hard. So the car makes 285 kilowatts on 24 psi. Internally the motor is stock. I am making that power because I have a GT Pumps 712 aftermarket turbo. The stock turbo turbine housing had some cracks in it, as did the exhaust manifold. So I replaced it with a cast map item. The car has a Tomei titanium dump pipe, AK Racing 1-cell test pipe, and the Varex muffler, as I discussed before. So to stop the heat from the turbo, I've got the Evolution X Designs exhaust manifold deflector. So it's just held in by those 3 bolts there. In black, I've got the Evolution X Designs Firewall heat shield as well, so that when you look at the engine bay, the whole engine bay looks nice and blacked out. Alright, in the center I've got the Password JDM intake manifold cover, which hides all of the fuel rail and stock intake, which is quite unsightly unless you go to the effort of painting it. I've had the rocker cover removed and painted white. This is an Evolution X Designs core pack cover. Even though it hasn't got a logo on it, they do sell one like this that doesn't have a logo. Just got some password JDM dress up bolts all over the engine bay. Just got a I just went onto eBay and looked for a black cap for the Evo 10. Just in case you're wondering, Evo 1 to 9 all caps won't fit the Evo 10. You actually have to use something like a Honda 95 model Integra or Civic all cap to make it fit there. It's got a different thread. I've got the Club Spec Custom Designs dipstick and dipstick holder. Here's the lines for the Driven Fab catch can. Routes kind of underneath this cover around to the right side. The intercooler pipe is the Plasma Man top intercooler pipe, which joins into the 3-inch race series front mount intercooler, as I discussed before. In terms of the intake, I've actually got a K&N 3-inch pod filter, just running the intake pipe, stock MAF, Plasma Man couplers, Plasma Man intake pipe, Turbo Smart compact blow-off valve, which as you can see is recirculated. This is a bit of a gem of an item, this Uber Motorsports blow-off valve return pipe. Very hard to come by. I got the last one, which I think anyone could have possibly bought in the world. As you can see, the top intercooler pipe has been heat wrapped with DEI heat wrap tape. I've got the APR radiator cooling panel. So this panel is a replacement for the stock item. Fitment is excellent, lightweight, and just sets the whole look for the engine bay. Look at that. Last few things, I've got carbon fiber covers for the fuse holders here and here as well. Evolution X Designs intake heat shield. So this is one of 2 main types that my friend Scott makes for this car, and these were some of the early prototypes which he can also make for anyone. Simply slots around a stock intake here, and it stops it from moving around. It's also got a bolt hole down there so that it doesn't move around either. Because I'm not actually using the standard airbox, I've simply just got a metal bracket from a local hardware store, and I've just got a bolt here so that can't move about, and that satisfies our local requirements with the police for having a intake pipe which is bolted down. That's a closer look at the carbon fiber headlight covers. So boost is controlled by the Cobb 3-port boost controller. So utilising the standard Cobb lines that come with it. I'm using the standard Evo 10 radiator, but realising that with upcoming track work that eventually that may not cut it, and just purely due to its age, coming up to around 10-11 years of age, the twin core radiator eventually will go. I'm using the stock shroud and fans on the radiator. If I do replace it, I'll be going to a Cusco item. So here is the Rally Art radiator cap. So it's just, as you can see, it's a genuine one. It holds 1.3 bar. It's certainly not one that comes from eBay. So stock internals, again, I'll just say it's 285 kilowatts at 24 pounds of boost. Great setup, drives really good, quite responsive. It's not meant for outright power. So my whole intention with this car was to have a Motorcana type setup, which means short course racing. It's got good response, and with the SST, as I said, you can change gears really well. It's not a laggy setup. It runs the E85, so in terms of the fuel setup, I've just got Bosch 1000cc injectors. I'm running a DW 300 pump, which sits in the standard cradle, which is underneath the back seat. I actually replaced the fuel filter, so essentially that is the complete full canister that the fuel pump sits in. So when I went E85, I had a completely new, clean fuel system. The SST transmission on my car has been rebuilt, so it has had the dreaded shift fork issue. I've actually had the box pulled out, which sits underneath where the pod is here. Might be difficult to see. Actually, it's not. So that's a Dodson heated sump. And as you can see, or if you don't know, the standard gearbox cover pan, it actually sits vertical, not horizontal, underneath the box as you would traditionally see in most cars. It's an item that costs around $2,500 installed with the oil changes, etc. in Australia. The reason why it costs so much is because it actually comes with the lines to hook up to your stock radiator cooling system. So essentially the SST transmission relies on the temperature from the radiator to bring the gearbox temp up to temp as quickly as possible, so that you don't have to wait something like 45 minutes just to be able to drive your car fast. So that brings up temperature really well, and that item comes out of New Zealand. Alright guys, so I don't think I've actually missed anything on the car, but my future plans for the car is the car runs on some Tog Auto coilovers. They're just really like a no-name cheap company that the previous owner had installed on a car with some other cheap stuff which I've gotten rid of. I want to go to a monotube coilover setup, so instead of a traditional twin tube. Because I wish to do this short track work on the car, I know that will assist me to get good times. One thing I forgot to mention is that you'll see there in the middle of the screen that there are some brake air guides, so the air gets channeled from those guides only on the front wheels to the back of the rotor, so it assists with cooling. Probably one of the last things I can talk to you about on the car is that I've got the white line heavy duty adjustable rear sway bar as well. So I've got it set on the middle setting, and that's a worthwhile mod that I would do. and would recommend to most people. Even for street use, you can feel it straight away on the middle setting. Car's had a full compound and polish. As I'm making this video, there's a number of small things I just keep remembering that I've modded, which I've just forgotten about. So here's the boot. Removed all the linings, put some sound deadening in there, because when I first got the car I was interested in getting some audio and just wanted to make it quiet. Now, don't give a damn. Removed it. Removed all the lining from inside. So I've got an Odyssey PC680 MJT, it weighs 7 kilograms instead of 20 kilograms for the stock battery. If you have a look in my history of videos, you'll see how I talked about how that gets installed. GSR SST uses this larger water reservoir. It has 2 motors attached sort of on the front, down the bottom of the reservoir. One of those motors is for the windshield wiper, and the other one is for the front mount intercooler water spray. I don't run a lot of water in here. As you can see, the water is just down to approximately there, or where the 8007 number is, and I just top that up as required, but I usually keep it around about that level. So I don't put any sort of additives into this bottle because I don't want those additives being sprayed onto my front mount, so therefore it just gets plain old water. Some people go to the nth degree and put in deionized water. I just put plain tap water. I've been doing so for the last 2 years, never been an issue. Evo 10 in Australia does not run a spare tyre, therefore because of that what they do is actually run a sort of a generator, like a plug-in generator. You can pump your tyre, but on mine I've just removed it and I just run a foam in a can solution. Alright guys, well I hope you've enjoyed that. Little mod I picked up, genuine sticker, SAWC for the oil controller. And I've got the UK version OEM SST badge, flex fill, because I'm running E85 dual map, so it's not a flex map, it's a dual map, so it runs E85, or if I run it down to nil, then I can put in Australia on 98 petrol, which we call premium unleaded. And the other difference is I've got the Mitsubishi badge on here as well. So I'll call it an end to the video now guys, because getting a number of people coming down to run their dogs, etc. Hope you've enjoyed this video, and I hope that I haven't missed anything with it. So yeah, I was just touching before on the fact that I want to get some monotube coilovers for the car, so I was looking at getting either some Tane or some Cuscos. I'll probably be going off Cuscos. I've got some white line diff mounts, because the mounts for my diff are worn, and so I need to get them replaced. And the very last thing I'll probably be getting as well is the Super Pro roll center adjusters. So even at this height, if you look underneath your car, you'll have a look at the position of the drive shafts. The car's not really that low. It is lowered, but because of my driveway I can't go any lower. But yes, I want that so that I can have that adjustability. So essentially the drive shafts are sitting like that. Most people don't fix it, but I want it fixed. Thanks for watching. This video has gone for 35 minutes, my longest video by far. Quite a decent amount of mods on it for a car that doesn't have any internal engine mods or built engine. But if you've watched this far, thanks very much. Juzzie Evo X. If you haven't, please subscribe now, and I'll see you next time.